Hi there everyone, welcome to our daily Moravian Bible study. Today, as is often the case on a Sunday, we are in the Psalms, Psalm 107. And in some ways this psalm is a preacher's dream. It has this repetition and theme that runs through it that makes it really interesting and relevant to unpack. So please do read through the psalm. Certainly I'm going to go from verse 1 through to around verse 22. So please, if you need to pause this now and just read Psalm 107, 1 to 22, please do that. If you've already read it, continue to watch and to engage. And so we have a number of scenarios in this psalm that the psalmist has just observed of what happens to people in community in life. And for each of these scenarios, he lists the problem. And then he talks about the manifestation of the problem, what that problem looks like, how it plays out for those people. He then outlines the solution to the problem, and it is a wonderful solution. It's the same solution to all of life's problems. And then he outlines the manifestation of the solution, what happens, what it looks like when we apply that solution to our lives. So problem, what the problem looks like, solution, what the solution looks like. So for example, verse 4, the first problem is the desert experience, the wilderness experience. Verse 10, the second problem is the prisoner experience. Some sat in darkness and deepest gloom, prisoners in iron chains, the prison, the captivity experience. The third one is the sickness experience. Some became fools through their rebellious ways and suffered affliction because of their iniquities, verse 17. We could go on through the psalm, but we will limit it to that. And then the manifestation of the problem. So for the first problem, the desert experience, this wasteland experience, what does it look like to be in a wasteland experience? It says that verse 4, they could not settle. They were restless. Ever met people that are restless, that couldn't settle? Ever had that experience yourself? They had this hunger and this thirst. Of course, that hunger and thirst, that longing is a good thing. It's a God-given thing because it leads them to the solution. Verse 6, then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he delivered them from their distress. And we see that right through this psalm, that in one sense it doesn't matter what problem you are facing, whether it's the wilderness experience, whether it's the prison experience, whether it's a sickness experience, the solution is the same. It's from that place to cry out to God, to turn that pain and that hardship into prayer and turn to God in it. So when we move into the second experience, verse 10, sitting in darkness and deepest gloom, it says that was because they despised the counsel of the Most High. So this prison experience, the problem of this prison captivity, flows out of a rejection of God's wisdom, a rejection of God's counsel, a rejection of walking in the will of God. It leads them, it says, verse 12, into bitter labour. They stumbled, and then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them. Verse 17, the sickness experience. They experience sickness because of, it says, because of their foolish rebellion, their rebellious ways. Of course, not all sickness is a result of our rebellion. Not all sickness is a result of our sin. But you can be sure that if you walk in rebellion, if you walk in foolishness, it may well impact your body. And again, these people, as they drew near the gates of death, as they nearly died, verse 18, then they cried out to the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them. It's the same solution. Let's backtrack to the desert experience. Wandering around, restless, then they cry out to God. That's the solution. What is the manifestation of the solution for those who cry out to God in the wilderness time? It says that he led them to a place where they could settle. He gave them rest. They gave thanks for his unfailing love. He satisfied the thirsty, filled the hungry with good things, 7, 8 and 9. So as we cry out to God in that desert place, in that wilderness place, we find rest in his love. We find satisfaction for that hunger and that thirst. We find satisfaction in him alone. Likewise for the prison experience, the iron chains for those who reject the counsel of God. When we cry out to God in that place of trouble and pain, he saves us, verse 13. What does a manifestation of that salvation, that solution look like? It says that he broke away their chains. He breaks the gates of bronze and he cuts through the bars of iron. They gave thanks to him in that place of the prison of restriction for his unfailing love. God wants to set you free. If you are in that prison place, there is no greater solution than to cry out to him, and he will break down the gates of bronze and cut through the bars of iron. Finally, the third sickness experience, verse 17. They cried out to the Lord from that point of death. And it says that God sent forth his word and healed them, verse 20. And I pray for each one of us in that place of pain and sickness for our loved ones. I pray that as we cry out to him, what we will hear back from him is that word of healing that he wants to speak over your life, because he is the Lord who heals and rescues. So whatever you face today, whatever experience, wilderness, prison, sickness, cry out to him and he will answer. Have a wonderful day.